Welcome back to this episode of Show and Tell After Dark, where we are talking about addiction and recovery. I hope you guys are enjoying this episode thus far. Let's get back into the episode. What you got for us, T?
Yep. You two from Victory, were you always, a quick yes or no, were you always religious or believed in God?
Good question.
Well, I grew up Catholic, but I was taught, the rosary and all that. But I was inside, I just went through the custom, but I wasn't I believed in God because they taught me it, but I wasn't really having a relationship with God, and I was kind of far doing my own thing. So I wasn't really very religious in the early years of my life. I just went to church because hey, you gotta go to church,
Right.
So, but I think after my mom passed away, it was just at 10 years old, I was just all right, man, I was on my own, and not until years later when I really hit the ground, I was in the bottom, that I turned up, and I was all right, maybe I should give God a try, So
This is gonna lead to another. Well, how about you?
Yeah, I'll just answer the question briefly. Yes, I was raised with knowing God. My mom would take me to church. She taught me from when I was young, even before I could remember, had memory. She said I would quote back things to her. So yeah, I
That's
would
what
say,
your mom said?
Yeah.
Wow. And did she say how old you were?
Probably 3, maybe.
Wow.
Something about
You know the Bible say train a child?
yeah, train
I know you know the
child in
rest.
the way he should go.
Come
When
on
he's
now.
old, he went out to part. Yeah. So yes, but I would say yes.
Okay. So, you guys, did you guys ever struggle with finding your higher power at all? And I was gonna ask, did you guys struggle when you were in recovery, finding a higher power? And also, too, what do people do when they struggle and they find their higher power? And what do you do when you, see people who don't believe in a higher power but want to recover from addiction?
So I tried NA, I tried AA, I tried that, and my higher power I came to realize was my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, but through the course of time, I always tell people, I like what my brother said here, you have to find a support system. You have to find, first of all, stop hanging around the barbershop or else you're going to get a haircut,
That's right.
You have to really find people who love you. You have to really be around a different environment, set goals. You really have to put in work to be able to see results, to stay sober, So I have seen people and know people who've done AA works for them, And I see people quit cold turkey, but they had to go to crazy events for them to suddenly come to their senses, But I always encourage people my experience, my higher power, but I always leave with sowing a seed into them and uplifting them because life is hard. Life is hard. So that's my approach, and that's my higher power, and that's how I deal with people who don't have a higher power. So I always encourage them, and I always support their process, But I just give them what worked for me, and I just tell them, hey, man, at the end of the day, God loves you, has a plan for your life, but, man, I want you to make it, So, yeah.
Yeah, and I would say for myself, I didn't really struggle with the concept of a higher power when I first came into recovery, but I didn't think that religion or a relationship with God was the answer, because my mom, she would, in the midst of different times in my addiction, she would ask me can I pray for you, and I'm because I knew she'd pray for me from a distance, but she'd be right there, and I'm yeah, Mom, if you want, you can pray for me, but it's not, I don't think it's gonna do anything for me. And then I had a relationship. I would say I had a relationship with God, but I'm how is that gonna fix me? It does not.
Right.
But because I didn't really understand, I would say I knew in my mind some biblical things. I kind of knew of God, but I would say I didn't really truly know God. I didn't have that relationship with Him, because when you have a true relationship with God, there should be fruit in your life. We would say there's results. It's
yes.
There's evidence. Yes, that you can't just be oh yeah, I love God, but then do whatever the heck you want all the time, you know?
Right,
Like
right,
she
right.
said, if you love me, obey my commandments. So it's like that's a whole nother thing. But as far as when it comes to people that are desiring recovery, but may not be people of faith, or the concept of God is challenging for them, I would just try and encourage them, but still based off like biblical truth that I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah.
I would tell them, hey man, it's like it's not the way that not the life that you're supposed to live. Like there's more for you. Like it's not your purpose. Like there's like, and I would try, just something along those lines to try to show them there's more. But that because I am a person of faith and I'm a pastor, like I will try to sow that seed in their life, even though knowing they might not be receptive of it. They might think it's complete foolishness, but I know I've done my job.
That's right.
Like before God, like my conscience is clear doing those things. So
Planted that seed.
And what do you guys think the biggest cause of people in recovery that relapse? What are the biggest kind of things that kind of contribute to that?
Well, what I've seen, because I've been around recovery homes and people who have recovered, it's always something that triggers. There's a trigger mechanism. There's something that has not been dealt with inside. A childhood experience. Maybe they got, molested, or maybe they got abused. Maybe, not having a father. Like for me, I had an orphan heart, and I struggled in my early years. And I had come to understand that God is my heavenly Father. That I had to come to grips that He's gonna take care of me. So I remember Mother's Day, Father's Day, or open house and triggered me, and I had to learn how to control these emotions. I had to learn how to, stop and be like, all right, cool. Instead of running to alcohol, running to something that would numb my pain, I would have to ask God for strength. I would have to ask God, help me right now, certain things that triggered me. So I know that if we don't deal with the root, then sooner or later when you're put in a certain circumstance or under pressure or under that situation that brings you flashbacks of whatever trauma, whatever childhood experience, whatever it was, if we don't learn how to deal with it, then we easily try to run to numb that pain, either through alcohol, either through weed, whatever it is. But I believe it's not dealing with the root. There's deeper. It's not. It just surfaces themselves with addiction, but there's layers of healing that takes place to have victory over it. But if we don't learn how to deal with those things that everyone deals with, everybody's situation is different. But if we don't learn how to deal with those deep issues inside of us, then we're able to fall to addiction or to something that numbs our pain, So there's triggers, everyone has different triggers, but I learned that if we don't learn how to deal with that, then that opens doors for relapse.
You want to say something?
Did you want to go?
You go first, Kelly.
So, I feel like there's like a two-part question. So which part did you want to be said about the higher power or like triggers?
Yeah, causes to relapse.
Resentments, and also reservations. I feel like a lot of people like me, I often say that I had 2 relapses, but sometimes I feel like maybe it wasn't a relapse. Maybe I just wasn't ready to stop. Like I really haven't hit my ultimate bottom. I would say the last time that I used, I hit a bottom. Like it was a place where emotionally and spiritually I was so low, and there was so much shame and guilt and dishonesty attached to it, where I was like, I never want to use again. And at that point in time, I had been in recovery before. Like I was in recovery. I got introduced to recovery 2006, but I wasn't ready to recover. Like I didn't even think I had a problem. I didn't identify with being an addict or anything like that. So by like 10 years later, I was in a place of ready to recover. I ended up getting 3 years. And then this is a touchy subject, and a lot of people don't know this, but I was drugged by somebody that I was seeing. And then after I was drugged by him, I felt so guilty for not wanting to leave him that I started using again, because it was like, okay, he already drugged you, you already used, now you have the negative feelings, like the shame and the guilt and of not wanting to leave. And this is something that I don't like to talk about, but you know what? I'm in a place right now where if I gotta talk about what I've been through to help somebody else, I'm with it. I'm totally with it. Like, I usually only share stories like this in certain settings, but I was going through food insecurities at the time. So I had a good job. I wasn't receiving food stamps or anything like that. But even though I had a good job, I had rent to pay. At the time I was in subsidized housing. I'm not now, but at the time I was in subsidized housing, and my rent was affected by how much I made. So my rent had gone up exponentially, and I had my car insurance to pay. I was relatively like a new driver, so my car insurance was really high, and I had nobody that wanted to put the insurance in their name. So I'm a single mother taking care of a little girl. I had this to pay for, that to pay for, summer camp to pay for. And at the time, there was a gentleman that I was seeing, and he was helping out with a lot of the things that I couldn't like afford at the time. So I looked at it like, do you want to feed your child, or do you want to be mad because he drugged you? But then like, from me being drugged, it was like, why did he drug me? So now all these thoughts are going through my mind. Like, why did he do that? Why did he do that? Why did he do that? Like, is he trying to make me sleepy? Is he trying to make me high? Is he trying to get me to fall asleep? Does he want to do something to me? Does he want to do something to my child? So now I'm feeling guilty, and I'm still in a place of where I'm like, yo, I just lost all my clean time. Like, not really thinking like, this doesn't count as you losing your clean time. Like, somebody did this to you.
That's awful.
Yeah,
That's
like, I've done a lot of step work. Like, before, I could never even open my mouth to begin to even speak about this. Like, I never spoke about it. And this is a person that I see, he's a part of the artist community. So it's like, to see him and to be in a community where people know him and stuff like that, it's very uncomfortable. And I don't never want to like discredit anybody or put anybody down. Like, I want to see it as a mistake. I want to see it as, you know what? You thought you was helping me in a moment I was in pain, not knowing that I don't take narcotics. I don't do any certain type of pills. Like, maybe you felt like it was okay. Like, I want to think the best of the situation. Right. But in the time, it wasn't. I started using again. Took me some time to get back on track. I really struggled with it. But like, they say that most relapses, like, when you come back, you have a more vigorous application of the steps. And, so I was willing to take more suggestions about how to really get more, rooted in my recovery. So I came back, I probably eventually, after I got clean, I got like a year clean. And there's a lot of stuff I'm trying to like fast forward and cover over, but a lot of things took place in between there. A lot of like family stuff, a lot of friendship stuff, a lot of heart, like a lot of stuff, an arrest, like, probation, everything. Like, so it was like that vicious cycle coming back to right where I was in 2006 when I was in OCC. So it's like, you're doing the same things all over again. Like, it's a vicious cycle. But long story short, my last time getting clean, from that night, it was just so bad. And I felt like it wasn't who I wanted to be as a woman. It wasn't who I wanted to be as a mother, as just a child of God. Yeah. It was just like, yo. And it was so bad where it was like, you don't even know exactly what happened. Yeah. Because you're blacking in and you're blacking out, but your body knows.
Right, right, that part.
You ever wake up from like a crazy night, like, glory be to God. Like, you ever wake up from a crazy night and you're just in so much physical pain and you don't know what the fuck happened to you? You ever wake up with scars and bruises or cuts and like you don't know what happened? You're missing fingernails. Ooh. You got pieces of your hair ripped out. And I'm not like, you ever woke up in a jail cell like it came to and like your bill's $10,000 fucking dollars and you're like, what happened?
Right. That's the question.
So I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. I had one reservation. When I started getting into step work, my first sponsor said to me, what are some things that if it happened, you're definitely using, like if it happened? And I said, my grandmother dying. I said I love my grandmother, and excuse me, baby, I love you just as much, but I love my grandmother the most in this world. My grandmother is the first person who taught me what love meant, unconditional love. Unconditional. And she wrote me a letter, and she wrote in cursive, and she had beautiful penmanship, and like she took the time out. She could have called me on the phone, but that was something that she took her time because she wanted me to understand it. She wanted me to read it over and over again, even when she was dead and gone.
Right.
So 1 month after that event took place, the day that event took place, and the last time I drank, I never drank again. 1 month later, my grandmother died. And it was like, there goes your reservation. You said you would use. You would definitely use, but now you got this new bottom. Like, out of all the bottoms, or where you thought it was the bottom, there was another trap door where it just kept getting fucking worse. It just kept getting worse. And when the pain is great enough, that's when you'll make some changes. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't get great enough yet. Like, they're telling you fire is hot, but you think you could go in and out and go in and out. It's only when the pain gets great enough that you're like, I'm ready to do something different. Like, and that last time, like, it broke my heart. It broke my spirit. And my grandmother died. And, like, I've been clean since. Like, that last time drinking, that was 2020. 2020, I have not drank since then. I was on medicinal marijuana, and I was on psych meds. I have schizoaffective disorder, and coupled with severe depression, manic depression, bipolar. So I was on psych meds. I had medicinal marijuana. I haven't taken my psych meds in over a year. I haven't smoked medicinal marijuana since 2021. I have no excuse to use today. Like, the only time people relapse is when you got a reservation. When you, like he said, when you have something and you haven't got to the exact nature of what's bothering you. And it's like, sometimes you think that is surface level, and you think that this is what's bothering me, or like a plant. You might see a plant and the leaves are withering, and you think, oh, maybe they just need some more water.
Right.
And you don't realize that there's mold in the roots that's affecting how it's growing out. So you're like, damn. Like, you think, like, every time I do step work and I'm like digging into what it is, it's a rabbit hole, and I'm like, I thought it was this, but it was this. Like, I thought it was that, but it was, something completely. I thought it was this, because it's like, it's that question. It's that line of question. Like, step works gets real vigorous. And it's scary. It's very uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable, because it's like, you got to sit with that shit. After you pulled it up, it's like plunging a toilet. Right. It's like, I don't know what's stopping me up right now. Right. But once I get it up, I got to sit with that stench, and I got to look at it, and I got to address it. Right. Why did you do X, Y, and Z? Yep. Not only why did you do it, but why did you do it over and over and over again, hurting yourself? But I thought you love yourself. Oh, so you don't love yourself. Now you got to sit with the fact that you don't love yourself.
Right. Which brings me to this point. You said, what would you tell somebody if they was in active use and they wanted to stop? That brings me to what I was going to say. That's why I let you go first. God is good. I was going to say, you would tell them, if you loved yourself, you would not use drugs. That's what my mother would say every day. If you loved yourself, you wouldn't be doing what you was doing.
But it's bigger than that.
And the thing about it is that it's really not. Because if you love yourself, you want the best for yourself. Mm-hmm. You want which falls in line with what God wants for you as well. He wants the best quality of life. And if you love yourself, you'll want the best quality of life for yourself as well. Mm-hmm. So what you can pray for is to ask God, first of all, to keep you real, to make you real, and to but being real comes being realistic. And realistically speaking, when you see something that you know is not good for you, you're not gonna let it. What do you say? Manifest. You're not gonna take it a step further. You're gonna say, this is not good for my health. This is not good for my emotional well-being. This is not good for my children, because I love myself. So being in love with yourself means being real with yourself, and being realistic, knowing that these things are stifling. They're hindrances in your life, and they're gonna hold you back. Whether it's your longevity in life, your lifespan, whether it's your productivity, your progress, these things are hindering you from the best quality of life that God has for you. If you love yourself, you would not use drugs.
But I think it's more than just drugs. I'm gonna be honest. Like I'm one of those people that I feel like that's what the stigma is, because everyone's like drugs is bad. You're not bad. No, sir. I don't know if you see that cartoon. Me and my daughter, we say that all the time. You're not bad. I thought you were bad. But long story short, I feel like it's not just the drugs. Like there's certain things that is acceptable because we can tax it, or there's certain things that's acceptable because it just is socially acceptable. So for like me, I'm gonna be honest. Like I smoke cigarettes. On the package, they said Surgeon General's warning, like may cause death. Like I read it, I see that it may cause death. I love myself. I say I love myself, but why are you smoking something that may cause death?
Right.
Because for me, I'd rather smoke a cigarette. Like say I have like anxiety, or say I have emotions that I know where my emotions are coming from. I know how I feel about it, but I can't fix, manage, and control it. Like I want to fix, manage, and control it, but since I can't, then what I can do is just calm down and smoke this cigarette.
That part.
Like, and it makes me focus on. Like sometimes it's the habit of doing it that kind of calms me down, or I have something else to be obsessive compulsive about. It's just like focusing on this. Or
Okay, I want to comment on that. First of all, I want to clear the air. When I say if you love yourself, you wouldn't do X, Y, and Z. Trust and believe that I'm still in my process. So, you know, that when I say these things, some of these things I put out there for me to pick up as well. I like to share my experience with a person or people.
Yes.
Okay, I'm always going to walk with you. I'm never going to walk ahead of you. And I don't want to walk behind you. I want to walk with you. So when I say these things, I manifest these things in your spirit as well as mine, because I'm a work in progress.
we all are.
You know what I'm saying?
We all are.
I'm a work in
love that.
progress. And life is about what? The experience. But the experience is what? About the moment.
Yeah.
Because the life is not long-winded. And they say a moment in your life will last a lifetime in your soul.
Ooh,
So with that being said, I just want to reiterate that I'm trying to get to that promised land of loving yourself omnificently. You know what I'm saying? The ultimate love. I'm trying to get to that point. I'm not quite there, you know, respectfully. I'm not there, and that's my mission statement. If we can reach there together, then that's all, you know, that's all the better. That's all the better if we can get there together. But I'm not there yet. You know what I'm saying? That ultimate love, that perfect love that I pray for every day for us, for myself and everybody else, all God's children, all life is His perfect love that I have not obtained. But I pray for it constantly, day in and day out, for me and for you.
I don't think anyone's reached that. I think that's something that everyone
I just want to say something. First of all, you know, it's like, I just want to say this. My little brother said this. This was like, I was like, bro, that's it, man. You know, addiction is only a symptom of the problem, first of all, right? A symptom. Many people, you got to ask, okay, why people relapse? They relapse because of some people relapse because, right, once they put the substance down, they have to deal with themselves, right? But my little brother said something that was deep in Khan and Siobhan. Y'all touched on it, right? Siobhan and Siobhan. No, you're Siobhan. You're Siobhan.
Her middle name is Siobhan.
Yeah,
her name is Siobhan.
I do. All right, now. But my little brother said that. My little brother said that addiction is mental health.
It is.
Right? Right? And since we're sharing stories, I'm probably gonna share the story, but I'm gonna talk about it, right? I was born, right, a child with, you know, what in medical terminology, with a lot of aces, right? That means that, you know, that I had the cards were stacked against me from the very beginning, from the time I was spit out, right? That means my mom was an alcoholic, my pops was an alcoholic, a drug addict. That means my grandfather, my grandmother. I grew up in a lower economic environment. I was mentally and physically abused, picked up, thrown down flights of stairs, busted aside my head with broomsticks. I was, you know, just tore up from the floor up, right? And I keep saying that, tore up from the floor, right? But so as a youth, right, I didn't have a sense of identity. I didn't know who I was, and I was hurt. I was broken. I was out of touch with reality, with love. I was out of touch with love. I didn't know. I was always taught to be a man. So even when I was busted, even though my mom had a Boston Bruin official hockey stick and get ready to bust me upside the head with it, she's like, be still and take this pain. And a lot of times I didn't know any better. I would take the hit and I couldn't cry. So all that pain, all that suffering and things like that, kind of stay with me. And so, what I would do is when I grew up, I turned to the substances. And for me, turning to the substances, I didn't care about the substance as much as I cared about what I can do with it. I never drank or anything to be sociable. Right? I always picked up any substance to go 100 miles of running, to go hard. That's my only thought. Play basketball hard, did everything hard, right? My only thought, right? And so when I the substance wasn't my thing that people like to drink, people like to smoke and things like that. I didn't like it. I never really cared about it. I only cared about going crazy. And that was because of my trauma. Yeah. That was because of my trauma. So now, when we talk about, why would I relapse? Relapse wasn't a cure for me, right? It was the issues that was driving within inside of me, right? So I just want to say this, right? So people individually, right, relapse for different reasons. Like there's no one thing. Like there are triggers. Right, and they do have resentments, right? And now remember this: that addiction, right, is psychosomatic, right? That means that some people become addicted because they have a spiritual condition, right? Some people have a mental condition. That's why they come to addiction, right? Some people is physical, right? So it's like a three-headed dragon, right? A lot of times when we talk about love, right, and we talk about a loss of identity and things like that, it was spiritual for me. That's why, it was spiritual for me. I did not even know how, right now, even now to this day, I'm still working on how to love myself. Love myself. Addiction was the driving source to death. I remember, and once again, I'm gonna respect people's time, right? This person, I remember when I was trying to get into detox, right? And I called the guy, I called this certain detox, right? And he was like, "Man, are you suicidal?" I was addicted to substances because I was suicidal, and I didn't want to kill myself. Physically, gun and knife and all that stuff, right? So the guy said, "Are you suicidal?" Right? I was like, "Yo, man," I said, "Man, listen, if I'm out here drinking myself to death, right, at a high clip," I said, "Yes, I'm suicidal." It's a sad story because dude said, "Well, you're suicidal, you can't come into the detox," right? But that's crazy, right? But I'm just saying, my point is, inside of what I just said, it's a lot of different points on why people relapse. And like I said, a lot of times it's for people relapse for various reasons, and we can have a whole conversation about relapse.
Cream, you
Yeah, so
introduce.
yeah. My name is Kareem. Wait, what was the full introduction? What else do I need to say?
What are your experiences with addiction or recovery?
Okay. So I want to say, like, I've been like impulsive and like compulsive my entire life. I've had some habits that I've like grown out of, like, since I was like a kid. I remember, like, in elementary school, I would go in my room and I would like turn on the light switch, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off, and like until it felt like the right amount of numbers. Then I would like sit on my bed, get back up, sit back down, get back up, and like this was like an everyday thing. And like I don't even know, like I don't remember when I grew out of it. I just like stopped doing it one day. But it's like it's been a thing like forever, and it's like it'll go from one thing to like the next thing. So like now it's like art. So I'm obsessive over like my image and like how I look, and like I always have to like look my best when I go somewhere, or working out, and it's all also like my music. If I feel like I'm not like in the space that I need to be in, like it fucks with me mentally, and then I kind of start like getting anxious and like depressed, and I'm like, all right, why am I still here? Like nothing's happening. I've been working every day, mad hard, and like, you know, stuff like that. And I've come from like a family of, I guess, like in denial addicts. Like my grandfather on my mom's side, my grandmother on my dad's side, my father. And like I remember, like he would take me and my sister to like these meetings when we were younger. I never knew until I got older that we were like in like AA meetings and stuff like that. And like he was like staying at the I want to say it was the Lewis Center or something like that. Yeah. Sorry. I remember he was like staying like in this like home, and it was like it was a halfway house. I didn't know that until I was older. And like it was like all these things that were like disguised but like right in my face. And like today I actually I decided to go sober. I love you too. I think today was the first day that I admitted that I was actually an addict. Because it wasn't like super extreme, like, you know, I'm not like strung out on the streets and like overdoing it every day, but it was like you still have the urge, you still have like the like not the need but like the want to do something because you feel like something's like out of place, or like you have like a void that you need to like fill, you know? And
God bless you, brother.
God bless you too. It's actually like ironic that I'm like here right now because I didn't know that this was gonna be the topic. And that no, that's why I joined, because I didn't know at first. Sorry. But yeah, like it's been like so many patterns like in my life where like I'll like focus on one thing, just do it like every day. Like I've been like focusing on like getting better at singing, so like every day I would just like listen to music and like be annoying, like singing mad loud in a building, and it's like I live in an apartment building, so I know like everyone in there probably hates me or loves it. I don't know. And I know like my first floor neighbor, she's an elderly woman. She loves when I sing. And like if I come in the building and I'm like not singing, she's like, "What's going on? Like, are you alright?" Like, you know, things like that. And like there's like days where like I would just like be in the bed. Sorry. So like yeah, there would be like days where I would just like be in the bed and like not do anything, and I'm like, why am I here? Like why am I like not doing anything? Like you could be doing something, but like you're still here, and I'm like, you're like cognizant of it, but you're still not like doing the work.
Yes, that is so true.
And it's like, yeah, and it's like you start beating yourself up because like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you know that you can do something, but you're not, and it's like a cycle that keeps like repeating in your mind. Excuse me. Very, very fucking dark. And it's like it gets to the point where it's like I've never been like suicidal, but like I've gotten to the point where I felt like I wouldn't care if I win, you know? Thank you. And I didn't start feeling that until like maybe like 2019, 2020. And it was just like from feeling like stuck and like inadequate, working all these fucking jobs that were dead end, like not getting no fucking money, and like busting my ass every day. And just like always being so like overextending myself, being generous to people, and like not getting shit in return, and like not that I'm looking for it, but it's like a fucking thank you at least would be, some gratitude, Let me breathe real quick.
That may have come from spreading. Now that you bring that to the now you bring it to the forefront. That might stem from spreading yourself too thin.
Definitely.
I think that has a lot to do with when you can't move forward in life and you find yourself giving to this one and giving to that one, your energy, your advice, your space, your whatever. There's nothing left for you.
Yeah.
There's nothing left for you. And you cannot move forward because everybody has put demands on your time, your life, your space, and your energy. So there's no moving forward because they've taken everything.
Yeah, and it's like an empty cup can't pour into another one.
Yeah, yes, there's
so,
nothing there.
Like, I've been like focusing on myself more lately and being like selfish. It's not a bad thing to be selfish. Like,
it's not selfish. It's about putting yourself first.
And like, I have a song called "Vices," and it's actually about like sex addiction.
Okay then. All right then.
Like, there's like all these like apps and stuff where you could just like, there's people within like feet of you in the vicinity of your area, and you could just like go hook up and whatever, and it just seems like it's like whatever, nothing at that time, but it's like you're doing that because you fucking feel empty inside.
Yeah, and you feel even worse after it's done. Cause 9 times out of 10, you the one with the void. They the one with the self-reservations, and now they done robbed you. They done robbed you of of whatever you had to muster up to give them. Whatever that little bit was, they done took it and now they gone.
Exactly.
Exactly. So now you feel worse than when you got them on the phone.
Exactly. Oh, sorry.
That's how.
Yeah, definitely that. Like it really like took a toll on me, and it's like, I would like notice it, and then like I would stop, and then like I would like like not have sex for like weeks or months, and then like get back into it, and then it's like, why? Like you're doing this like every night. It's
Because
like,
that's a lust demon on. That's a lust demon on your life. That's a lust demon on your life, trying to take you, trying to bring you. These demons are here. They have one sole purpose, and that's to take you out. To take you out. And if you don't mind that lust demon, you'll find yourself with this disease, that disease, until you get down to HIV, and then there'll be no more you. That sole purpose is not just for you to have sex and be repetitive and repeatedly having sex. It's there to destroy you. And when it gets you down and out to the point in a place where you cannot wrap your mind around what's going on, it's winning. It's taking over. And the next step is death. If you cannot control it.
yes, you're right.
Believe that.
And then like today, like I started detoxing, and like like I've been vegan for like almost 8 years, but it's like there's still other things that are like like that you need to detox from.
What's up?
And it's like it's not always drugs, like you said. It's not always drugs. It's like there's sex, there's food, and like I've been like there's like days where I would like just like overly like just binge on food, and then like certain days where I'll like eat like one time or like not at all, not get out of bed.
Okay. Extremist. It's either hold on. It's like this. Hold on. Let me break it down real quick. It's either you're on one side of the fence or you're on the other. There's no middle ground.
No middle ground.
Where I'm just like that. We're extremists. There's no middle ground. There's no. It's either you're hot or you're cold. There's no warm area. There's no middle ground. It's either all the way up or all the way down. Either we're all the way happy or we're all the way sad. Either we're happy or we're crying.
Yeah.
Either we're mad or we're chilling. There's no it's hard to find content.
Yeah.
There's no content because there's too much going on.
Exactly. And it's like I've just been like trying to find like peace and balance with like where I am now and like what I have, and like not worrying about what I don't have or like what I don't have yet or what I need, because I have everything that I need right now. I'm still here.
That's right.
Exactly.
I've been here this whole time,
I want to add on to that because it's just about building and expanding the conversation, because and there's levels to everything, right? Even in the word like relapse or addictions, there's levels to it, right? And I used to think that, and I done said it a million times that I'm extreme, right? But then there's another level to that, right? Because what happens is if you're thinking about extremism, right, then you're not thinking about the next step that you're going to make. You're not thinking about, anywhere in between. And, the level that I was thinking on was like, you know what? Hey, hold on. There's a book called The Mountain Is You, right? I forget I'm going to spit a couple of books out in a minute when I get a chance before we wrap up, right? There's a book called The Mountain Is You. And the woman, I put the Mountain Is You. And the woman made the most sense, and when I listened to her, right? Cause I audible, I don't read them, y'all. That's okay. She said that you know what? We gotta just learn to allow ourselves to be, right? Because what happens is we might think we're extreme, but we're really condemning ourselves. Right, and then when we say that we're, and I'm not saying this is your case, and I'm actually, when I say we, I mean me. This is how Ty do it, right? When I think that, I'm not doing enough or I'm doing too much, and sometimes it could be that I'm extending myself too much towards other people and I don't have the energy, right? That's because, for me, it's what I do. I do everything, and I mind extending myself to people and things like that, right? But then, I realized that if you're gonna be that type of person that loves people and that does things unconditionally, then you got to recognize that you're going to be used, right? And you got to be the person to live with that. So I even, found my way through that. So I just say, whatever, man. I just charge it to the game like I did in the street. Just charge it to the game. But back to my main point. My main point is that I could think. My main point is that, right? When it comes to overcoming addiction, a lot of times it's the guilt and the shame. And these are these intangible things that are causing us to continue to damn ourselves and condemn ourselves. And then when we say that we don't have the energy to get a job, or we don't have the focus to read that book, or we don't have the focus or the strength to make this music that we're trying to make, right? It's not necessarily that we're bad. And a lot of times we got to allow ourselves to go through that experience. If you lay in the bed all day long, then just allow yourself to lay in that bed all day long. You know what it is being in time. It's just being in time and allowing ourselves to be. And that's what I'm learning to allow myself to do, is just be without judgment, because it's the judgment that keeps us crippled. It's the judgment that keeps us crippled.
I also wanted to say real quick that when I found myself in the place,
we're gonna have to wrap up soon.
When I found myself in a place where I couldn't move forward, a lot of times it's the fear of failure that often was kind of stifling. Because, like you said, a bunch of dead-end jobs, you get fired or they don't go nowhere. And then it's like, okay, I got to go to this job I don't like. So it's defeating, but it's also the fear of failure. When you want to make music and you be like, I don't know if I have what it takes. This ain't going to work. I'm going to put this up. We'll do this in a couple months. Or maybe tomorrow I'll write something. Because you just ain't feeling it. But you're not giving it all your mind, your soul, your body, and your spirit. You're not invested 100%. Because the enemy, what does he represent? Failure, right? So that demonic force is over your life, making you procrastinate, and you're not allowing yourself to step out on new ground and territory and get your feet wet, because you already have a self-defeated spirit of fearing to fail. That's what the enemy represents: fear. Fear is what he stands for overall. That's his mission, to put that in you, because as children of God, God is what? God is almighty. He's almighty power. He is a superiority. He is, there's no fear in God. He doesn't even want you to fear him. He wants you to have a healthy fear of him, but he's not here to put fear in you. That's the enemy's job. Right. So, that was my situation. I can't put that off on anybody else, but I always dealt with a fear of failure until, I don't know when it shifted. And it became a life. It became a life or death. It's either you pursue your career, or I don't know, stay homeless. I don't know, what's your plan B. Right. I don't know.
Right.
What are you gonna do?
Right.
It's either in anything you have, your dreams. Most of the time, that will fall in line with your purpose.
Yeah, that's right.
Because you don't just dream things. Like when you go to sleep and have a dream. That's God sending you a message. He's trying to talk to you. I believe a dream is the same, has the same innuendos. You don't just feel things in your spirit, and you're passionate to the point that you would want this to envelop your whole life.
And
This is what you want to live for. This is what you want to do. You have a passion. That's not by chance.
definitely. And dreams, like some people don't believe that they're like a real thing, or like you're not like traveling like to another like place or dimension. And I know that dreams are real because there's dreams that I've had in my childhood that shit happened like months ago, like literally in my life. Like
That's what I'm saying.
Good.
Message.
it's deeper than deja
Yes.
vu. It's like no, that
You
shit.
can't make this
It
up.
happened. It happened in multiple dimensions.
Okay. That's
Wow.
what I'm saying. Your dreams and your vision, that's God. That's God giving you vision. Your dreams is God giving you vision.
In the last episode, we just had Kateria on here from Exposed TV, and we were talking about similar situation. We're talking about Steve Harvey, and he always says that your visions or your imagination is life's coming attractions.
Yeah.
And I like that because it resonated with what you just said, and it resonated with what you just said, because you don't just get something, everything is for a reason. Every single last little tiny thing. And with that being said, wow. Tell me, go ahead.
One last thing. I like to say that, like, you already have it. Like,
Yeah.
it's not coming. Like, it's
not
not
on you, it's in you,
lost.
baby.
It's
Yeah.
You
Exactly.
already have it.
Yeah.
Like,
That is so true.
it's here.
Yeah.
That is so true.
That's another thing we were talking about too. Everything that you have, you are already born with. Money, everything that you ever think you could possibly want, it's all already here. You just have to realize it and believe it. And I hope that no matter what your vice is, I hope that you guys watch this entire episode from the beginning to the end and really just pick out the different jewels and things that you think could help you, because I'm full. I don't even think I need to go home and eat no food. I'm full.
I know.
Maybe
right?
for even 2 days. You feel me?
Do you feel me?
So, yeah, man. Dang, like, I'm processing. I just want to thank everybody individually, personally, from the real Cricket Smith. Feel me?
Okay.
Kareem, Khan, Spence, Siobhan,
Fine.
Eric, and Ty, from the bottom of my heart.
Hi.
Yeah, because this was a great episode, and thank you guys for sharing your experience.
Yeah, addiction is a
Straight
serious
Liddy.
addiction
Yeah.
is a serious issue, and this is a longer conversation.
Yeah.
We really appreciate you guys. Show and Tell Boston, and that's a wrap.
Good night.
Trace.